Perth's three-day lockdown has been labelled draconian and over the top by some doctors as the cost of the shutdown is revealed. No new community cases have been recorded in WA, but the Premier won't lift restrictions unless the trend continues.
Western Australia's capital is bustling again after the lockdown lifted on Tuesday. But as some doors opened, others remained shut. Remaining COVID restrictions have made reopening not viable for some businesses. The 4 square metre rule applies and only 20 patrons are allowed at any one time, regardless of venue size. The cost of the snap 3-day lockdown in Perth and the Peel has ticked over $70 million, according to State Treasury. The Premier warns the cost could have been higher.
Obviously, if we went into a long-term lockdown, if we had community spread, the cost would be many, many billions and tens of thousands of jobs. So that was the choice we faced.
For 2 cases of community transmission to be this draconian and to take this measure is way over the top, in my opinion. It seems the WA government have learnt nothing from this and they're taking this drastic approach, to use a sledgehammer to drive in a nail analogy, and really, I think, completely overblowing the degree of risk. We could be much more agile about this, identifying risk contacts, getting them to go home, to isolate, to get tested, and work on people who are at risk rather than trying to lock down 2 million people and all the adverse consequences that has.
During February's lockdown, cash grants were offered to help with electricity bills. It's unclear if support will be offered this time.
We'll look at what we can do and what we can do to assist. And that's something that's ongoing. I just make the point that whatever we come up with, probably some people will say it wasn't enough. But the best thing we can do is get the economy back up as soon as possible.
The next easing of restrictions is due at 12:01 on Saturday morning. But questions have been raised about crowd limits for the Western Derby on Sunday, when WA's 2 AFL teams face off at Optus Stadium.
We'll work out the answers around the football and further measures as we step out of this phase, hopefully by Thursday or Friday. And we'll be able to provide advice to people at that point in time.
I see no role at all for mask wearing outside in the fresh air. That just is a nonsense and really takes away a lot of the credibility the government has. Yes, maybe wear a mask in crowded places, public transport, etc. But mask wearing is really ridiculous. I think 20 people in a restaurant, cafe or bar is ridiculous.
No new local cases have been reported in WA, but 4 positive results have been recorded in hotel quarantine, all recent arrivals from India. It's feared that number will rise.
78 of the 79 passengers on this flight had been in India recently. Our expectation is the number of positive cases from this group of people will grow and potentially grow significantly.
Mark McGowan maintains hotel quarantine isn't working and wants defence facilities used instead.
So I actually support the Premier Mark McGowan on this. I think we need to drastically reduce our numbers of intake while the situation in India is spiralling out of control. And if that's a complete reduction to 0, I would be happy to live with that for a temporary arrangement.
Emily Evans, Sky News, Perth.